What is going on, y'all? I've got some sick changes for Basculegion that I would love to get into for my ROM hack, but before I get into explaining the ability choices, the stat tweaks, and most importantly, all of the crazy new move buffs and changes that they can take advantage of, I want to have a disclaimer for all my new viewers who are watching. First of all, shout out to you. Appreciate you clicking on the video. Let me know in the comments down below if you're new here. It helps me get an idea of how many new viewers these videos are attracting. Um, so first thing I recommend you do is pause the video and read the description. I've got a bullet point list explaining every single buff. Explaining my philosophy behind every single change that I make, the general philosophy of the ROM hack, right? So give that a read. It'll give you a lot of background information, and when you're done with the video, as you can see on screen, you can click on the Google Sheet link down below, and it has all sorts of useful links. Most importantly is the move guide, as you can see on screen. It has every single move in the game categorized into new categories because I've reworked all of the moves in the game. So I've organized them by type, by all sorts of useful things. So definitely give all that a read when you're done with the video, and you can also check out all my other videos explaining the ROM hack more or explaining other Pokemon changes. I highly recommend you do that when you're done with this one. Don't click off now because it'll mess up the watch time. Speaking of watch time, make sure you watch to the end and leave a comment if you do. Make sure y'all, sub, like, comment, all that good stuff. It really does help get my videos out to more people. With all that being said, though, I can talk about Basculegion here. So, if you're curious about the normal Basculin, the Unovan Basculin, they will have their own video in the future. They will be their own standalone Pokemon that are going to be cool in their own right. Probably very similar to what they were in Sweltering Sun, so you can check out that video in the meantime if you're curious. But yeah, the White Stripe can evolve, of course, that's kind of the whole point. So they have Wimp Out, which flavor-wise is very fitting given that they normally have Rattled as their ability that's exclusive to them, and Rattled, same flavor as Wimp Out, right? Very useful for pivoting. 80/80 offenses with adaptability is perfectly strong enough up until level 35, especially with that good speed stat. And Swift Swim can be nice as well, although I would say it's better on the evolutions, but it's still good. I mean, on White Stripe, you can definitely still take advantage of that. And you've got, your cool little coverage options and cool things that White Stripe can do up until they have level 35. But obviously, you guys are much more interested in the Basculegions, so the female retains the whole special oriented and the male retains the whole physically oriented thing, and I've kind of emphasized that with their abilities. I also want to differentiate them even more with their abilities. So they both have adaptability and Swift Swim, right? But now the female has an ability called Energy Shield, which is just multi-scale essentially. It lets them, take a lot less damage. They're already very bulky, right? 122, 80, 93 bulk is very, very good. Very, very good. And Water Ghost typing, as you guys know from mons like Jellicent, has some really nice defensive utility to it. And of course, it's great offensively, which is fun. And then the male has Intimidate instead of Energy Shield. I much prefer Energy Shield mechanically, but obviously Intimidate is great in an in-game nuzlocke type of context. It's very easy to abuse and pivot around and swap and just, debuff the opponent. I don't like it because it makes you risk a lot of crits, but yeah, still a great ability, of course. And the male is more physically oriented, and they have lots of really, really strong high base power moves, especially for the late game. And they also have a few unique move pool differences amongst each other. So the female gets exclusive access to Absolute Zero, which is an ice type special Wicked Blow, which I think is cool on them because they've got the whole like light blue wispy color scheme going on, and they have like this kind of low key, like, their eyes are like, they're like kind of tired looking, right? And then also Hisui is like a cold region. Sinnoh in general is cold, let alone Hisui. And then the male has access to Temper Flare and Soul Crush because they're more, physically aggressive. They have like the angry eyes, the red color scheme, and both Temper Flare and Soul Crush are also Wicked Blow variants of the Fire and Fairy variants, and all of those have the downside of not being able to be used twice in a row. Same with the moves Torrential Pulse and Astral Storm, which is why they are earlier than the 55 Hydro Assault, Shadow Force, Spectral Beam, Hydro Cannon. So the Wicked Blow variants are balanced in the sense that 78 B speed means a lot of the time if you want to outspeed something that's faster than you, you're going to have to use Choice Scarf or Swift Swim or Quick Claw or something. Specifically, if you're using Choice Scarf, that means you can't just spam like Choice Scarf, Torrential Pulse over and over again. You have to use Surf or something, right? If you want like a spammable or a liquidation or Aqua Tail, whatever, a more reliable no drawback move. Because you can use Scarf Torrential Pulse. It just means you have to switch out after you get the kill because otherwise you'll struggle. Same with Astral Storm. That's the exact same move as Absolute Zero. It's just Ghost and Water type versions. And then at level 55, they get access to physical and special Draco Meteor variants for Water and Ghost. So those are awesome. Keep in mind that any like 2-turn move, right? Like any 2-turn move such as like Spectral Beam, such as Phantom Force or Shadow Force is basically drawback free for the player, because the AI is never going to hard switch out of those moves. It's not like in competitive where those moves have significant drawbacks because a real player knows how to take advantage of a free turn. The AI doesn't know how to do that, so those moves are essentially free moves for you to use. And then Phantom Force is a recoil move, same as Wave Crash, so those are both really good with Scarf or with Swift Swim. And obviously defensive stuff with Energy Shield and Intimidate. So the beauty of every Pokemon in this ROM hack is that they're all very versatile and can do a lot of different things because of access to infinite move relearner, 3 different ability slots that I handpick, and then, you know, the fact that you can customize your EVs at any point in the game as well really allows you just, like, you can run a fully bulky utility like Flip Turn, Debuffing, Will-O-Wisp, whatever set. And then the very next, you know, Life Dew, Energy Shield, which is super cool. As you can see, Life Dew is a priority heal move that heals you to full. Soul Absorb is also very good, and Rehydrate, which is just Water type recover. And Soul Absorb is Nightshade, but it heals you by full HP that you deal. So essentially, if you're level 30, you're going to deal 30 damage, and you're going to heal 30 HP, which is really cool with Energy Shield especially. But it's also good with Intimidate. Yeah, and then Swift Swim is really nice if you either get up the rain with another ally, like you can do Rain Dance Eject Button into your Basculegion. That's 4 turns of rain. You can do, you know, Damp Rock, or you can do, if you happen to have a Drizzlemon on your team, then go crazy. But of course, you don't need Drizzle to abuse rain in an in-game context whatsoever. So that's all great, really fun. You've also got your priority, Water Gun, Aqua Jet, Shadow Sneak, and Spook. So you got, you know, physical and special priority moves. And in general, their physical and special move pool is like much more even versus in vanilla. Like, first of all, their ghost move pool in general is very, very lackluster in vanilla because there's just no very good ghost moves in vanilla in the first place. Like, even Shadow Ball is 90 power now, right? Let alone, you know, the Ghost Draco Meteor, physical Ghost Draco Meteor, Ghost Wicked Blow, all these, you know, Ghost Double Edge, all this good stuff that they have now. Last Respects is kind of just a flavor choice. It's not really balanced for this hack because this hack is supposed to be played as a Teamlocked Nuzlocke. If you made it 7 minutes into the video and you don't know what that is, you never heard that before, again, I really do recommend you pause the video, read the description. It explains what that is. But basically, moves like Last Respects are not useful for you at all. At least they're not supposed to be for the intended playstyle. But of course, if you're playing more casually, you can, you know, abuse that all you want. But yeah, Life Dew Energy Shield is super cool. I'd love to try that out because you can kind of like allow yourself to get low HP and then heal back to full. I think that's kind of cool. Yeah, obviously Flip Turn's very strong and good coming from them. Energy Shield Agility is good if you don't want to, you know, run Swift Swim Rain Dance, which obviously Swift Swim Rain Dance has the advantage of giving you a water boost, but the downside is you can't run Energy Shield to take a hit better potentially. So yeah, as for the flavor behind the abilities, I don't think I need to explain Energy Shield and Intimidate too much. You know, Energy Shield, they've got like that wispy, ghostly vibes going with them. They're like this soul, what's the word for it? They're like, what's the name of the species? Not the species name. Yeah, like it's clad in the souls of its comrades, right? So I think that's cool. And then Intimidate, you know, just a giant ass ghost fish. He's got like angry eyes. He's got like a whole angry, more like aggressive. He's got like the little facial hair going down his face. I love these guys. They're so cool. But yeah, Head Smash is obviously good as well. Also, not to mention if you get like a cool Terra type, that'd be really fun. Like if you got like Terra Fire, Terra Ice, or Terra Fairy, or Terra Rock, like you get a lot of cool high base power moves with those. So that's always fun. But any Terra type is great, literally any Terra type. So yeah, thank you for listening. I don't think there's too much else to talk about really. Just kind of surprising. I'm kind of blazed through this one. Let me see if there's anything else I want to touch on. Yeah, I don't know. It's very straightforward. Obviously, Swift Swim is great. So another benefit of Swift Swim is that, unlike with Adaptability and Scarf, you need to run Speed EVs with that, right? You don't need to run any Speed EVs with Swift Swim, so you can do max HP and then go from there, and that's very fun and very useful. So you can take more advantage of your bulk with Swift Swim, because in an in-game context, you don't need to outspeed crazy speed tiers all the time. Most of the time, you're not going to be outspeeding even base like 110, 115 for every boss fight. And there are 50 of them, so it'll vary, but it's never going to be anything crazy like, you know, Booster, Valiant, or any like competitively minded speed tiers that people are worried about. Nothing like that. Yeah, there's really not too much else to talk about, man. They got tons of cool garbage, as you can see. Little ones I haven't touched on, even like Mud Bomber, Mud Shower, Mud Shot are a nice special ground moves there. You know, your Eternal Beam is special Fairy Recoil. You've got Aura Sphere, Focus Blast, all this fun stuff that you can definitely take advantage of. So yeah, I really think that's all I need to say. Again, I also have the male having a little bit more physical defense and the female having a little bit more special defense. I also dropped the female's attack just so they have the equal stats just flipped around. Although I understand in vanilla the reason that Basculegion female stats are the way they are is because Basculin itself has 92-80 offenses, so I guess they wanted the male to add on to that physical while the female adds on to the special, but it's kind of messed up. It kind of results in them having uneven stat distribution, which kind of works out in vanilla because physical moves in general of Ghost and Water are a lot worse than special ones in vanilla for the most part. Although Wave Crash is the thing, so I don't know. It doesn't matter now because the moves are much more like homogenized and there's good options for every single type. You have like high base power options, priority options, utility options for every single type, both physical and special. So yeah, shout out to you if you made it to the end. I guess I can quickly expand more on the White Stripe. Because yeah, I mean it's totally good until level 35, right? Like 80 offenses with that adaptability boost is great. Not to mention your Terra type can give you an additional adaptability stab for just to have that once in a while. You got good enough coverage. That Wimp Out utility is really useful. There's even some niche circumstances where I can see you keeping White Stripe a bit later than level 35. Like if you look at the boss fight guide and you look at your team and your team locked playstyle. Once in a while you might need that Wimp Out pivot for free, or the pure water typing for whatever reason. I don't know. Some niche interaction where you would maybe want to keep them a little bit late. So yeah, I don't know, very fast, especially for the early game, but even towards the mid game, it's still very fast. And obviously 108 speed without, plus speed nature or max speed IVs is not going to be that fast, but still very quick. You've got other cool utilities like Soak and Haze and, fun things like that. So yeah, I think I've covered pretty much everything I need to talk about. Thank you so much for listening. Leave a comment down below if you made it to the end. I very much do appreciate it, guys. Seriously, drop a comment. It helps me know who does make it to the end of these videos. I'll be back for more coming up, y'all. Peace.